Alright lads, so today over on Bleach so Resonant, we are going to have a chill discussion video regarding the state of the game. It's something that we did very similar on Brazos a couple of days ago. Right now they're in a pretty bad spot due to some unfortunate changes. But right now on Bleach so Resonant, we are in a pretty good spot, to be fair. The game just came out over 3 weeks ago. It's been a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun, but there are a few things we do need to talk about to hopefully spread awareness on this topic that I know other content creators have spoken about, because if we don't say anything, nothing really does change. So with that said, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is in regards to the Stamp Corridor game mode. Now, I will preface right from the get-go, I personally love this game mode. I think it's a lot of fun, and I do like the free dopamine that I can potentially get when I do roll a potential good core stamp. As bad as it might sound, in a way, it's kind of a free way to gamble. And one of the main reasons why I did like this is that my biggest complaint on Soul Resonance when I first got word of the game back 2 years ago when the developers approached me, the one thing I told them was that I don't like the idea of having two items to summon for, 3 in total. You had to pull for the character, you had to pull for their weapon stamp, and then you also had to pull for their core stamp. The idea of pulling 3 things just seems too many, where most games, at most, you're going to be summoned for 2 things, the character and also the weapon. Now, to give some extra reasons on why they did decide to have a weapon stamp and a core stamp, the idea with the pity being 40 summons, in many gacha games when the weapon pity is 80 summons, it means you have to do 80 summons to get the weapon, and therefore you did 79 summons assuming you got unlucky and didn't work with anything. The idea of having 2 items, a core stamp and a weapon stamp, because you can guarantee one of them on 40 summons, it means that if you don't have enough to go all the way to the 80th summon, you can still guarantee you something halfway through the 80 summons, in this case a core stamp or a weapon stamp, because if you weren't aware, core stamps in the beta were summonable. So that's why I like the idea that they took that away. In a way, it made it more free-to-play friendly and turned it into content. So the idea of this system is actually really cool. However, one thing that we are seeing right now is the fact that the stamina that you get to farm this mode, the Corridor key, are kind of hard to come by. Right now, you get them through the story modes, which we have to wait for new updates to get new Corridor keys. You get 5 a week from the supply refresh. And you can also get, I think, a decent amount from paid packs and also the battle pass, which again, you also have to pay for. So for free-to-players, these keys are very hard to come by once you do use them all. And even for like light spenders and dolphins, you know, there's not like an abundance of these particular corridor keys coming by every single week. Unless you do buy them from the shop, which is super ridiculously overpriced in my opinion. So I wouldn't really recommend that unless you are the biggest of the biggest whales. So now that we are currently at that point where the game has been out from 2 to 3 weeks, people are slowing down on corridor keys, myself included, and I do buy a few packs. And it's kind of getting hard to pull or collect some of those particular weapon stamps, because the way this does work, you have to get lucky from a gold or rainbow box, or you could get the shards, but you do have to get 100 shards in total just to craft the item, and that in of itself can take some time. Right now, I'm fortunate to have 25, but it might be another month or 2 before I do technically pity this particular weapon stamp through the shard system. Furthermore, one thing that we also did see is that in the beta, the item for Toshiro, the core stamp, was free. Now, it's not free. It's in this game mode. You can't get it guaranteed through the event. Now, I don't dislike that fully. You know, the official release is going to be different compared to the beta. Things are going to change. It's an expectation. But now what we do know is that every time a new character does release, there is going to be a paid pack to buy the particular core stamp for that character, and if you don't buy that, you're gonna have to get lucky. But every time we get a new character, this is going to get updated, and that's going to be a problem long term. And it also puts you in a weird situation where, do you even want to use your corridor keys right now? It's tempting, but is it just better to wait later on? Let's say you use it 2 months from now. There would have been 5 new characters released, and with that, there'd be 5 new core stamps to get. So in a way, you can benefit by waiting, holding onto your corridor keys, but at the same time, the longer you wait, in a way, it's going to be harder to get your specific core stamp. Because every time a new character does get added, especially if you don't pull them, it's just diluting the pull. And if you think it's hard right now to get Toshiro's core stamp, if you did pull for him, I personally do not own it. As of right now, it's going to get even harder as time does go by. So right now, the big question for the community really is, how do we fix this? What can we say for the developers? What can the developers do to fix it more so? I have a few ideas. I think the simple solution for the time being, if they want to keep this randomized RNG, is just quite frankly give us more corridor keys. I think 5 a week is a bit too low. 25 a week, I think, is a good number. Maybe that's being too greedy. I don't know. Is that fair to say? Surely that's not greedy, right? I think 25 a week should pretty much guarantee you 1 SSR core stamp, 5-star core stamp, actually 6 stars, right? That way you have a better chance of getting what you want to get. Although, again, that's more so just a short-term fix. Because the problem is still going to come that when more characters get introduced, there's going to be more core stamps to pull for, and therefore harder to get what you particularly want. I think these shards that you do get definitely need to be increased. I think you get 3, maybe 5. I think we need to up that up to 10, maybe even more. And I think my personal recommendation, what I would like to see when it comes to the core stamps is, as you can see here, there is a shard for every single piece. I feel like there should be a universal shard, where by playing this game mode, again, if they gave 25 a week, made corridor keys more reoccurring in events. With that, similarly to collecting shards, you can get a universal shard, which you can then save for a new character release. Assuming it has a pretty decent, good drop rate, when a new character does release, you can maybe just guarantee it. And we kind of have that system in place right now, albeit it's not entirely the same thing, but we do have the crafting system, for example, where if you farm the set stamp quest, you can get golden pieces, imaginary fragments, as they call it, to guarantee a 5-star stamp of a certain set, or you can even guarantee the exact one. I think we kind of need something like that in the corridor stamp game mode. That way, over time, even if it does take a while, when you do summon for a new character, assuming you have 50 to 100 of those shards, however it might potentially take, my recommendation, right? You can just outright get the core stamp straight away. It's not likely going to let you get every single core stamp, but if you save up, it lets you get it straight away. And in a way, that can kind of fix the need that, you know, when they do start to dilute the pool with new core stamps, because new characters are getting added every 2 weeks, you can still somewhat guarantee what you want. Or at the same time, maybe with this bar progression, you increase how long it takes to get to it. Let's say, for example, right now it might take around 25 keys. Let's make it 50 keys to guarantee an SSR drop, a rainbow box. But with that rainbow box, you get to pick what you want. Maybe that's not the best solution, but they definitely need to work on this game mode, because right now this is going to be the thing that is going to get worse long term. The more this game goes on, the more characters release, the worse this mode is going to get. And quite frankly, out of the 3 that I have been playing, I feel like this is definitely the only mode that really needs to be changed, or more so get an update quick, because it's definitely going to get out of control. With that said though, let's actually do a quick run and see if we can get something for the sake of the video. So we should be able to clear relatively fast, since we do have a pretty good team here. Right now, the best team in the game, right? My Ichigo's pretty much not maxed out, but also, I do, again, kind of feel bad going back to the whole, like, the way the system is set up, you kind of feel bad for using your corridor keys so early. I used pretty much all mine straight away, even though I probably didn't need to. I could have saved. But with that, I did get 4 Getsuga Tangles for Ichigo, which is actually kind of crazy. So I almost have his core stamp maxed out. And I got them all back to back from gold boxes too, which was, again, absolutely crazy. Let's restack our buffs. Go with the crit damage boost. Go back to Ichigo. Hopefully we get a extra stage up here. If not, it's fine. We can still get some from a gold box. I feel like as of late, I might have gotten more from gold boxes than rainbow boxes, truth be told. Or maybe I just got super lucky, who knows. But here we go. No extra stage inside, but we do have 2 gold boxes here. Maybe get some upgrades. We got 1 upgrade, 2 upgrades. So we have 4 gold boxes. Can we get something in those 4 boxes? We got some shards. We got Sergeant's 1. I think I already have that, but that's kind of crazy. We actually did just get an actual piece from a gold box. But again, not the one I really want right now. And it's also one that I have pulled 4 times too. So that's something too that can also become increasingly annoying in this game. More so game mode, right? Is that, you know, sometimes you're just going to pull the same one a lot of times. Like myself included, right? I think I'm missing a few core stamps. Somehow I pulled 4 of this one. Don't even use Sergeant yet, but I'm happy to have it, I guess. And I've also pulled 3 of this one, 2 of Ikaku, and also 4 of Ichigo. Fortunately though, Ichigo's one's actually really good. So yeah, I definitely think this game mode should be a priority for the developers at Nuverse. They got to do something about it, because it's definitely going to get out of hand and also get worse. But other than that, what exactly is my gripes with this game that I would like to see changed? Obviously, it goes without saying, more stamina would be nice. I feel like this game requires a lot of resources just to max out one particular character. Granted, we are slowly progressing through our character levels, our account levels. Now, I'm not expecting to max out every character in a week, right? But you do need to farm a lot of items, the skills, the essential material, gold even. That's something I didn't think would be a problem in this game, but like I ran out of gold super quick. I haven't really leveled up a lot of stamps right now. You know, my main characters have it at level 10. Tojo and Ichigo have theirs at level 25, 30, for example. But I do want to really work on a lot of other characters, but it's kind of hard to do so with the limited resource you can get from the limited stamina. I think maybe long term, the stamina is not that big of an issue, right? You just go in, spend it, get what you get, hop off the game, come back the next day. But my goal is to eventually max out every character, and as we go higher in the levels, level 70 onwards, the amount of resources you need does pick up quite a bit. I think a simple solution to the stamina system is mostly just provide more stamina, which to be fair, we have gotten a decent amount. I mean, there's a lot of other... I can't find it right now, but I think there's been a few places that do offer just stamina for, like, logging in through game modes. I know definitely the joint exercise, for example, was given stamina. Spiritual power nourishers, to be exact. For every level that you did clear, every time there is a bug fix, it does also give us stamina too, so that's actually really cool. Now, another thing they definitely do need to work on, which has been one of the biggest things right now in the game since launch, is that the voice acting is kind of all over the place. There's cutscenes that don't work, there's cutscenes being skipped, there's cutscenes that was actually removed. I remember actually doing the Aizen fight, and there was a really cool animation where Aizen does use Hado 90, but now that's been removed. I believe, again, that was due to audio synchronization issues. But they definitely do need to get on that. I'm sure they are working overtime probably to get those voices fixed. At least one would hope so. I believe some quests have had their voice acting fixed, more so Chapter 4. Maybe around Chapter 4, I think during the combat, for example, when your characters are speaking to each other during a fight, that now does work. Voice acting is there, but the cutscenes are still non-existent, or they just get skipped over completely. Which is a shame, because again, there's a lot of really cool cutscenes, and some that aren't even in the game just yet that were data mined. In particular, there is a cutscene from the Turn Back the Pendulum arc that looks really good. There's a lot of really cool cutscenes. And it's a shame that a lot of people, as of right now, are going to be missing out on them, because they're currently still under review. So yeah, that's definitely something they need to work on. And this one, now for this one, the last one, this is more so a personal opinion, but I do feel like they need to update some of the characters' artwork, because right now, it's kind of all over the place once more. Some artwork are really good, some artwork are kind of okay, some are mids. This Rukia, for example, I remember telling the developers 2 to 3 years ago, I was like, yo, this artwork needs to change. It got better, but, you know, it wasn't really that great. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of the character designs here are based off the 1000-year Blood War color scheme. You can definitely see that in Ichigo's hair. Byakuya, I think, is a big example. This artwork is really good, and this is something that changed like maybe a month before the game did release. You can actually still see it in game if you go to the gacha screen. Actually, I don't think I can see it right now. I can't see it because I don't have the guaranteed in 300 summons, but if you do click on that button, the bonus button, where you can select which character you do want, it is still using Byakuya's old art, and Yoruichi in particular, funny enough, on that particular screen, she's actually uncensored. Everywhere else she's censored, she has the white underclothing. But in that one particular screen, she does have an uncensored design. But Yoruichi is an example of good artwork. I think it does kind of match the 1000-year Blood War art style. But, you know, Kisuke, for example, I don't think does. Rukia definitely doesn't. Momo does. There's just a few artworks that, even though this one looks actually really cool, it's just a clash of styles. Same with Yachiru, there's no Blood War art style there. Sergeant, I think, could definitely change. The Ichigos did actually get updated before the game came out. Same with Uryu. But then characters like Orihime and also Chad aren't really using their Blood War color scheme. Meanwhile, a character like Nemu, she was one of the more newer SRs developed into the game. She has the Blood War art style. But then older characters like the initial Ichigo, or more so actually the Shikai one, and also Reggie are rocking the old art style, whereas Uryu definitely does have the blood one. You can definitely tell that in the hair color. When it's black hair, they normally have like a bluer tint to it. Now, when the game first launched, they have since removed it. It did say assets are under review, so it was my hope that over time they would change the artwork, kind of like what they did with Byakuya during the release, almost so right before the release during the beta test. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but as long as the new characters coming out do have a consistent art style that, you know, does resemble the Blood War theme that they are going for, I'll be fine with it. But I would really love to see long term, doesn't have to be a short term fix right now, bigger issues to fix than artwork, but I definitely would like to see some of the characters' artwork change to better reflect the other characters in the game, because again, it feels like there's two styles right now clashing with each other. I just overall want a bit more consistency, if even possible. And also, while we are on the topic of artwork, I think one thing that they did change, maybe for the worst in my opinion, is the boundary screen. So right now what you can see is that Ichigo is just looking down, very similar to what you see on the skill page. and also what you do see on the stamp page. Visually, I do like what these pages actually look like, especially the stamp page, which again looked very worse. Really terrible, and the whole system before was terrible in the beta compared to what we have now. But the boundary system did actually have some really cool, unique artwork, which came straight from the manga in terms of colored pages or, actual manga volume covers. And you can still somewhat see them in game. So, for example, you can see Ichigo right here. You do get the character art for reaching level 3 boundary. I know a lot of people were going after Nemu's third boundary because you do get access to, her manga cover volume. And these are really cool arts. And I think it added a lot of personality to this particular screen. So I think it's kind of a shame now that they did remove it just for the same picture that you see in the stamp page and also skill page. So with that, it also just now feels a bit weird that you do actually get an exclusive avatar, but you just don't ever see that artwork anywhere in the character's kit besides, again, this particular dupe screen. So it feels a bit weird. You're being rewarded artwork to use as an avatar, but that artwork, again, is just nowhere to be seen here. But yeah, that's pretty much all the problems that I do have right now with Bleach Soul Resonance. It's more so nitpicks, more so with the character art, but, the voice acting and cutscenes definitely need to be fixed as soon as possible. The longer that goes on, the worse experience all of us are getting for the most part, because the story mode is a big part of the game, and I would love to see those cutscenes, because some of them are actually really good. People definitely spent a lot of time on that unfortunately we just can't see right now, because again, the voice acting synchronization issue, and then the stamp corridor game mode definitely needs fixing. Something needs to change with that game mode, because the longer the game goes on, the more characters get added, the worse that is going to get when it comes to hunting for a specific stamp, especially if you aren't keeping up to date with all new character releases, because you might get a stamp for a character that you don't have or potentially can even pull for multiple months when they are gone. But either way, hope that you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace.